continuing the fight and fleeing the scene. On the one hand, I could probably get the money from him if I managed to keep him down. On the other, his friends were starting to form a circle, and the odds of me being beaten to a pulp were going up. I looked around at the group of burly men, arms crossed over thick chests as they eyed me. It was probably an odd sight, scruffy-looking girls standing with a large man groaning on the ground, clutching his groin. Enough for them to pause, but not enough to dissuade them from attacking. I should probably disappear while I still could. I sidestepped, jumping up to slide across the faded wood on the side of the pool table and find myself safely outside the circle of men. "Get her!" my attacker groaned from the ground. The men started to walk toward me. Why do they always move slowly? Is it supposed to intimidate me? I ducked out of the bar, racing down the street to put as much distance between me and them as was possible. So much for rent money. I slowed down after I'd made it a couple of 100 yards, reaching into the pockets of my jeans to grab my pack of cigarettes. I lit one and breathed in the nicotine, letting it wash over me and calm the adrenaline that had carried me to this point. I only made it another 50 yards to the next corner before the anxiety returned, the cigarette no longer dulling me to relaxation. I felt the tension between my shoulder blades, like someone was watching me. Had one of the men followed me even after all that running? It didn't quite make sense. I was fast. I had been good at athletics in school. Like pool, I had reached a point where I'd slowed myself down just to keep things interesting. It had become a competition with myself rather than with the other runners, and that had been a different kind of fun. I wasn't having fun right now, and the memory didn't do much to change that. I glanced over my shoulder but didn't see anyone suspicious. None of the men from the bar. I shrugged my shoulders to try and relieve the tension and kept walking. The feeling didn't go away, and I felt myself becoming annoyed. I glanced nervously down an alley as I passed by and was surprised by a pair of red eyes staring out at me from the dimness of the back street. I jumped forward away from the sight and took a long drag on my cigarette to get my heart rate down. What the fuck was that? I craned my neck around to look down the alley again. Nothing there. Well, fuck, that didn't make me feel any better. I started walking again, faster this time, hurrying to get back to my flat but never losing the feeling that something weird was following close behind me. I found myself glancing over my shoulder repeatedly, but didn't catch sight of anything abnormal again. Probably just the alcohol I'd put away. Maybe it was time to quit drinking. Yeah, right. I smiled as I entered my building. That's what I keep telling myself. Chapter 2. My landlady knows nothing at all about empathy. Mind you, I suppose almost everyone who works in the property world could be described as such. Not a lot of people have the stomach for it, and rightly so. Mrs. Doherty peered at me over the rims of her horn-rimmed glasses, eyebrows slightly narrowed, lips pursed, nose wrinkled. I squirmed in my seat, touching a hand to the mess of long platinum blonde hair there, my eyes darting around the room to look anywhere but at her as I chewed on the inside of my cheek. She made me feel pathetic. Well, perhaps that wasn't all her. I hadn't bothered much with my wardrobe this morning, as I hadn't entirely realised I'd be speaking with my landlady today. There was once a time when I dressed with care, but now my normal was to throw a simple old t-shirt and ratty jeans onto my slight frame. I had been fashionably thin with naturally defined muscles. Now I looked like an advertisement for malnourishment. I didn't eat well these days, for the same reason I was sitting in this office right now. I was late on my rent, again. I had been renting from Mrs. Doherty for about 4 months now, and had been late 3 out of those 4 months. Always got it to her eventually, but never on time.